Okay.
There we go.
All
Hello,
right.
everybody.
Hello. Thanks for joining us today.
Big topic today, guys.
It is.
Strap in,
yeah.
buckle up.
So we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
We talk about it all the time.
A lot.
A lot. But have you ever heard the term that your genes load the gun, your environment pulls the trigger? I feel like this really couldn't be more true when we talk about diabetes. So we are going to cover a lot about it today, but we're not going to get into the super, super deep science of it. But we want you guys to understand how much of a lifestyle disease is. The way that we live our lives really can contribute, make this disease happen. So
I think we'll probably talk quite a bit about disease process, but we're not going to talk pharmacotherapy.
There you go. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it relate to a lot of people, right? I mean, there's a lot of people that suffer from this disease, or the consequences of the disease long term. But yeah,
I mean,
a lot of people. And if there's, and look, I mean, at least half the population in the States has prediabetes type 2 or type 1. That's a lot of people.
Right.
And trending higher.
Sure. And I mean, I swear, if I had $1 for each email I get with a question of what to take, what to do for type 2 diabetes, guys, I'd be a billionaire. It's a lot. These questions come in every single day. So I just wanted to have a fresh new discussion about it and really motivate you guys to either if you are diabetic or pre-diabetic, things that you can do to work on reversing this. Or if you're on the other side and you're not there, the chances of getting there can be pretty high.
Even for people like you and I, we watch our sugars closely. We watch our A1C, our 3-month average closely. We get our insulin tested. Like we're very much cognizant and aware that we could potentially trend into prediabetes range.
Right. You have to be aware of it all.
Got to be aware of it all.
Everybody, this is for every single one of you.
All of us.
So if you're sitting there thinking, I'm fine, I don't have diabetes, stay tuned.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're one of those skinny people or you fall into that skinny fat category where the sarcopenia, you also are at high risk for prediabetes and diabetes.
Right. Yes.
So it's not just an outward appearance of the phenotype of being skinny.
Correct. 100%. So we'll talk about some of the causes, best diet or ways to eat, exercise, movement. Really, disease is secondary to type 2 diabetes, which is kind of scary thinking about it all. And then, we'll circle back and hit home on some of our supplements that can help you guys in the process.
And we try not to offend anybody along the way because, quite frankly, this can get really kind of heated into a lifestyle component. Like, why are you not doing more for yourself? Why are you not working harder at this kind of thing?
Sure.
And we promise we'll pump the brakes on that. But we are very passionate about lifestyle. We are very passionate about disease prevention.
Yes.
And so sometimes it comes across that way. And I just want you guys to know we have your best interest in mind.
Very true. Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. So just a little bit of, statistics. I mean, obviously, it's a chronic disease. Type 2 diabetes is a chronic, and we're sticking with type 2. Type 2 diabetes is
and prediabetes, yeah.
And prediabetes, yes. It's a chronic disease. 537 million adults ages 20 to 79 worldwide have type 2 diabetes. This is from 2021. It is projected to increase to 643 million worldwide by 2030. These are very scary numbers. And also just knowing we are so educated on this, but yet the numbers the projection just continues to go up and up. So, and really when it comes to Americans, it's about 1 in 10. 1 in 10 Americans is not even pre-diabetic. This is type 2 diabetic.
Yeah, that's not actually all that accurate, I don't think.
I don't know. It's 38 million Americans, which is about 1 in 10. I don't know. Adults.
Yeah.
And, again, we're just saying adults too, but what's also happening more?
Childhood, yeah. Sure.
Childhood type 2 diabetes. And that is very sad. Very, very, very sad. Because there's so much that can be done. That's what we're really going to talk about. So type 2 diabetes, Ryan's going to do a nice paint a picture for us, but really it occurs when the body doesn't produce enough insulin or the cells don't react, right?
Yeah. No, the body continues to produce a lot of insulin with insulin resistance.
Cells become resistant.
Right. And then over a long-standing period of time with type 2 diabetes, your insulin level, the secretion of insulin will decrease over time. But in the beginning, it amps it up. It pushes more.
Right.
Because your body's resistant to it. It's not yet responding to it.
So it's wondering why. So
it's like, why is this blood sugar still so high? Why are you not using the sugar for energy and growth?
Right. Because insulin's a hormone, and what it's designed to do is help the body help the cells absorb the glucose to use them for energy.
Sure.
Right. So when your body's resistant to that, clearly that's not happening. We're not using that sugar for energy. And what is it doing when we're not using it for energy?
Storing as fat. Yeah.
Yep.
Many times goes into fat storage.
Yeah. So let's just paint the picture.
Yeah,
It's
of
like
course.
what I want you to
Yeah,
visualize.
and I think it's a good practice to run through this real quick. So the problem with reactive sick care and the whole Western model, and really most of the world now, is that there's no interruption in the continuum of care. There is no continuum of care really. Like if you're pre-diabetic, well, that's even before that, right? If you had the high end of normal, what we talked about is optimal levels a lot,
Right.
blood levels.
Yes.
Most physicians aren't even really kind of talking to you about your high end of normal blood sugar. They're just not. There's nothing they can do about it. Your primary care is pretty much going to be like whatever. It's not even like a flag yet. So like the high 90s, call it your fasting blood sugar.
Right.
Then like in your low 100s, 110, 123, 120 in that range, you're pre-diabetic. Maybe the doc says something at that point. Maybe not. Probably not, because there's not a diagnosis code. There's not really a way for them to offer you any care. Now you bump up to 126 and you go higher, all of a sudden you're diabetic, you get a prescription, you get follow-ups, you get all these different things, educational materials through how to manage your diabetes with your medication, so on and so forth.
Right. And you're just talking about blood sugar.
That's strictly on fasting blood sugar, but there's also other metrics that we would encourage you to know, like know your A1C. That's your 3-month average of your blood sugar. You should know that. It should be under 5.7. That's an awesome indicator. You should know what your fasting your insulin levels look like. And then for those of you that are on that threshold of being concerned and have some concern, an oral glucose tolerance test, as bad as it sucks, because you have to, I forget, like that big sugary drink you drank and then monitor your sugar.
So for those of you females that have had babies, like we typically
they sometimes have it during pregnancy
you
to
have
make
to
sure.
do one.
So the OGTT, the oral glucose tolerance test, is a really high predictability on like where you stand as far as your insulin response and diabetes. So that's helpful information for those of you out there. But if you don't even know your fasting sugar, you can literally go get a glucometer from the grocery store and test your sugar at home fasting and postprandial after food. And you can search online for the normal levels, but like you got to know your numbers. You have to absolutely know what your fasting is, your postprandial. Like you should know your A1C. And if you don't, it's time for blood work because you're past due. Like that's just much needed. And it's normal to see the A1C. That's not foreign for a physician to look at that.
Right. And also, again, how we always talk about, taking your healthcare, into your own hands. Look at your trends. So when you get your blood work back, if it doesn't have side by side of like your past, your previous 2 blood tests, ask for them. Look at your numbers and see, wow, what 6 months ago I was this number, and then 3 months ago I was that. And, ooh, look at me, I'm going up.
Yeah.
If that's the case, guys, you really need to have this is a wake-up call. It's a warning sign. This is a big warning.
There are signs, right? If those numbers are going up, you have a strong correlation to watching your waistline grow too,
right?
And watching your activities decrease, watching your libido plummet, watching your energy, your free energy plummet, watching your sleep quality go down. Like, so you have all these different things that are happening, and it should actually absolutely come as no surprise that you're probably getting pre-diabetic, type 2 diabetic.
Right.
Because those are the things that sort of start to happen from a metabolic perspective as your pre-diabetes progresses into type 2 diabetes.
Right.
So
the quick picture.
And that's not normal aging, guys.
Right.
That is not normal aging.
Good point. The quick picture is, so we eat a piece of food.
Yeah.
Right. And so the body secretes insulin to take that glucose up, to utilize it. Right.
Yeah.
And if you're insulin resistant, the body puts that insulin out, but your body's resistant to it. So therefore it's not using it. And then it puts out more, and it keeps putting out more. Blood sugar's high. Nothing is happening. We're not utilizing that blood sugar for energy. Now, in a healthy body that is not resistant, the insulin gets put out after we eat, and it takes up that blood sugar, gets it out of our bloodstream, right? And we use it for energy. So it really can be as simple as that. So we need to make sure we take precautions and we do things if we're insulin resistant. One of the biggest ones, you want to start with diet? Kind of feel like, to me, like diet and exercise, they're both like so equally important, but let's just talk about diet. And now I'm not going to give you real diet advice on how to specifically eat if you're a diabetic, but there's so many things that there's so many leading physicians out there right now that are saying like avoid carbohydrates. And so we have proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. Eat low carbohydrate, but carbohydrates are not essential. Essential means that that we need them for survival, or our body doesn't make them, but we make glucose, right? So we do make, so then carbohydrates are not essential. And if you are pre-diabetic, diabetic, if you have problems, if you're insulin resistant, what's the point of putting carbohydrates in if your body's not able to utilize it properly? And by carbohydrates, guys, we hear a lot about sugar. Carbohydrates are sugars, yes. Breads, pastas, grains, oatmeal. And I know some things like that, like oatmeal, it's a soluble fiber. It does have a lot of benefits, but I mean, each body is unique. And this is why we like the continuous glucose monitors. If you don't know of that, you can look it up too. You can get one from your doctor, but it's one
that's not entry level though. That's for
just, I mean, to common knowledge.
Sure.
Common knowledge.
Sure.
To know how things, I mean, there's many healthy people walking around wearing them to have the awareness of how their body reacts to certain foods. So think about proteins and fats. Think about high quality proteins and high quality fats, right? Your lean meats, your healthy low mercury fish, eggs, dairy, just beans. Beans are a carbohydrate, but they're a great soluble fiber. So they really, really actually are beneficial. So just think about avoiding the sugars. And I know fruit is extremely healthy, but because it is sugar. It is sugar. So you have, when you're here, I want you to think about more on the low glycemic index. So glycemic index is certain food, when you're low on the glycemic index, there are certain foods that take longer to increase blood sugar. So you want to focus on those. I mean, berries are lower.
I think it's a fair thing for people to reference the glycemic index. Yeah, they want to see how fast it causes your blood sugar to spike.
Right.
How fast? Basically, the time release of the food to causing a blood sugar spike.
Right. So just kind of.
It's a good guide. It's a good guide because you're right. Like the fruits and the sugars and things like that. Like some fruits are very high in sugar.
Right.
Some are lower.
And it's hard because
you got to know these
fruits are
things.
Healthy.
Yep.
But yet, if you're having
insulin
insulin resistance, they're not healthy for you.
Right.
Yes, they're full of nutrients, but it's not good for you if your body's not utilizing that sugar. So really focus on the high quality protein, high quality fats like your olive oil, coconut oil, avocado oil, your avocados, your nuts, your seeds, your olives, your coconut, all that kind of stuff in there. I mean, really beneficial. And it also really helps stabilize your blood sugar. And if you are eating carbohydrates, if you don't want to rule them out 100%, make sure you're pairing them with a fat or a protein. Because typically when we just eat carbohydrates, we have a big spike in our blood sugar. And we want, every time we eat, our blood sugar is changing, right? It's going to go up with food. But we want to keep it these nice, low rolling hills, not these big peaks and valleys. So if you're pairing your carbohydrate, example, if say you're going to have a piece of toast, let's put some avocado on there, right? Let's have an avocado toast. If you're going to have a piece of fruit, say you're going to eat an apple, which is also good soluble fiber if you keep that skin on there, but pair it with some nuts, maybe some nut butter. So just those little combinations will help balance your blood sugar better. And I mean, I know some people that do use the continuous glucose monitors, they notice things like changes if they eat, say they were to eat ice cream, because ice cream has, like a full fat ice cream has fat in it. It helps keep your blood sugar more stable than maybe say eating white rice. You know, it just bumps it up. So the pairing of it can really help. But again, really think about the avoidance of carbohydrates until you get things under control.
Yeah, you're giving like really like quality health advice, like from a dietary perspective and nutritionist perspective. Whereas really for most of the people watching that are concerned about this, stop the sugar bolus, right? Stop having this like crappy coffee loaded with some sugar bolus in there because it's a cream, it's a sugar, it's a this, it's a that. Stop waking up first thing eating a cereal or some heavy carbohydrate loaded with fruit and some flavored yogurt that's packed with sugar. Stop sugary beverages throughout the day. What's the deal with all these? I'm hydrating well. I'm drinking my Gatorade or Powerade or whatever, or even drinking sodas, loaded with sugar. Right. Dude, like.
Or putting I hate even saying this, but like putting some honey in tea. I mean, honey has great health benefits, but not profound. If you're not able to utilize it properly, not if your blood sugar is out of control, not if you're insulin resistant. So you have to look at things through a very different lens.
You kind of do.
And if you can think about just taking it all out, take it all out. And if you are addicted to sugar, guys, I promise you, if you can do a complete 0 carbohydrate, 0 sugars for 2 weeks, you will get rid of that sugar addiction. 2 weeks, I know, will be probably the hardest 2 weeks of your life.
Yeah, sugar detox is a whole other thing. We should talk about that sometime too.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But it helps so many. It really does. It's a real thing.
What do you say about carrots? Do you have any opinion on carrots?
In moderation. I mean, carrots are higher, a vegetable that
Carbohydrate
tends to be
fiber.
higher in sugar, but it also has the fiber. You know, things like also like beets. Beets are so great for us, but they're higher in sugar. You know, so it's just moderation. But the fiber in carbohydrates really helps. So some other fiber foods I have on here, I was writing them down just so I don't forget. Black beans, lima beans, artichoke, apple with the skin, you need the skin, green peas. If you're going to do some oatmeal, if you're doing some carbohydrates, that oatmeal does have the soluble fiber, raw broccoli, sunflower seeds, walnuts. So all of these can be incorporated because fiber helps control blood sugar. So, you know, if you're going to go for those carbohydrates, I would say that apple with the skin or some oatmeal, but maybe with your oatmeal, like sprinkle in some sunflower seeds and walnuts, right? There's like a extra soluble fiber. So,
and then timing of nutrition is super important. You know, we talked about fasting and intermittent fasting and time feeding windows and those types of things. But yeah, I think like the really important thing to take away, and this requires a lot of discipline. I understand this is not an easy thing for people that are so accustomed to it because you're the addiction center, the dopamine reward center is so fired up on some of these food choices that you just can't. Very hard to avoid them. It's better for you just not to buy them. But when you eat, it's like eat for a meal and maybe not snack as much, right? Like kind of minimize the snacking in between to let your blood sugar stabilize and normalize. But if you continue or you're prompting the pancreas to release insulin just during your feeding window, like almost the whole time, that is not ideal for somebody that's pre-diabetic or diabetic.
Right.
So
very good point.
Take that into consideration as well. So timing of your food.
Timing your food. Focus on those 3 meals and just make them hearty and healthy. You know, good enough calories that you can have your 3 meals of the day and that be it. You know, you should be able to go 4 hours after eating a meal without feeling hungry.
What is the deal with this dude? Hey, what is your deal, David? What I mean, every week, same thing. Walmart has better products than Live Good. Very funny, dude.
Send me your products, David.
I don't understand those. Like you want attention, you just got it. There you go, man.
Okay. Exercise. Let's bump up to exercise. So did you know that exercising, utilizing your muscles can help control blood sugar similar to that of diabetic medications?
Yeah.
I mean, I was reading that earlier and I was just like, I mean, that's
blow you away.
Not enough right there to tell you why you need to exercise. So what exercise does to your blood sugar is very similar, comparable to what diabetes medications do. Exercise is so extremely crucial. And the Center of Disease Control only recommends 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise per week. That's very little, but again, start there. If you're not exercising, I mean, 150 minutes of moderate intensity per week. Divide that up. A moderate intensity, right? Fast walking, hill walking, biking. We know we want the weight training in there, but right now, keeping this super simple in terms of exercise, what we want you to do is contract your muscles. Because that contraction of the muscle is what pulls that blood sugar out of your blood and utilizes it for energy. And the more muscle you have, the better able you are to continuously take up sugar from your blood. So it's just, I mean, you have to do it. I can't even say anymore. Like you have got to exercise. That is like, it's like, it's a non-negotiable. It's a 100% non-negotiable. I mean, this is for everybody too. Like we did our last week's training on, it was about metabolism, but this goes just with that, because if you missed it, make sure you watch it. But one of the things that we were saying is that you should be moving your body, not just that little bit of exercise you're setting aside to do a day or per week, but you need to be moving your body continuously through the day. And we had recommended like every 30 minutes, set a timer every 30 minutes to move for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
If you're doing this continuously throughout your day, your muscles are continuously contracting and they're pulling up that blood sugar from the bloodstream. That is going to help diabetics, pre-diabetics, anybody that insulin resistant. This is going to help so much.
So let me drive that home, because I really think that's some of the best advice I've heard you ever say, and because it applied to me. Like, that's so real. Like, you can exercise an hour a day, then sit most of the day, desk work, whatever it might be, and you're not moving. Whereas the people that are the healthiest, call them, or live the longest lives, there's longevity, blue zone type deals, you know, they move a lot. I mean, they may not be in the gym lifting weights, but they're moving all day, every day. They're up and down hillsides or climbing stairs. So I was like, holy crap, that really applies to me. So every 30 minutes, try to get up, like air squats, whatever, push-ups.
Whatever works in the environment you're at. If you
walk some stairs.
You're working from home and you can quickly walk outside and walk up and down the street real quick, get some fresh air too.
So how long? Every 30 minutes? Like
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
2 minutes every 30.
And it doesn't have to be like, say you're doing air
beneficial.
squats. It doesn't have to be like this high intensity, fast jumping air squat. Just contracting your muscles. Just not being sedentary in that chair, standing up and going up and down.
Such good advice. Really
and
is.
This is stuff that everybody can do. And you know, so that's why I wanted to keep the exercise portion really light, because I know it can be intimidating.
It can be.
You know, for me, no, I love exercise, right? And we know that, like you do too. So what I could go on and on about exercise, but I know I'm speaking to many, because I know there's so many of you out there that hate exercise. Or they don't even know how to incorporate it in. They don't know where to begin.
Yeah, sure.
I get it. I get it. So like, again, that's why I wanted to bring up the CDC recommendation of like a minimum of 150 minutes. So to me, I feel like that's very minimum. I feel like the CDC is being very nice.
Yeah.
But a minimum of 150, and then just do those 2 minutes every 30 minutes, guys.
And then one last piece to use: eat before and after a meal. Definitely after a meal. After you eat, go walk.
Oh, sorry, you said eat before and after.
Did I say that?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Walk, move.
Right.
Before and after every meal.
Yes.
So yes, right? I mean, but that's amazing advice. Guys, that will be the big takeaway from today for sure, if you want to actually do something. And the 30 minutes of workout a day, that can be a modest, brisk walk. You know, that's the thing. We do encourage load bearing, of course, and things of that nature. But yeah,
and
that's a separate, that's like you said.
And if you're sitting there saying, I don't have time, but maybe you watch a 30-minute TV show. Right, guys?
Yeah.
Or get yourself a treadmill, or one of those little walking, they're not called walking treadmills, whatever it is.
Whatever, yeah.
We have one too.
Know,
We wheel it around and stick it up to a counter. Stand and walk on that while you're watching your 30-minute show. It's just about moving your body.
Awesome. What's up next? Okay. And hey, just for you guys that wonder why I'm not looking at the camera all the time, there is a computer right here. So it's not that I'm distracted. I'm actually managing the comments and the questions that come through. So I see all you guys talking. You just can't see my computer. So I apologize if I'm not making eye contact with you on the screen here, but that's what I'm looking at. So
yeah. Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
You know?
Yes. It's hard. We have to try to kind of see as we're going along if we can answer questions while we're doing this. Or
and I like it. I think the engagement's super fun.
There are good comments to pull up. Yeah.
This is super fun.
Okay. So root cause of all disease. So I personally feel like this type 2 diabetes is the cause of all disease. So many times when I get an email,
that's a bold statement.
I know it's very bold. Okay, I should say most, a lot. Let's just say a lot.
I'm with you.
One of the biggest ones is fatty liver disease, and this is non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And the prevalence of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is just going up and up. It's like skyrocketing. And every time I get an email about this, which is very often, I say, are you or whomever they're referring to type 2 diabetic? And 9.9 times out of 10, it comes back yes. So I say, okay, let's take a step back. Let's go work on let's work on the diabetes, because the other things will start to heal themselves in the process. Same thing when it goes to, I get a question about like foot sores or leg pain, just a lot of it. I always ask the question, are you type 2 diabetic? And it comes back 9.9 times out of 10, yes. So I don't ever want to focus on that issue. I know that was what the question was about, but let's focus on reversing the diabetes. Let's focus on improving our insulin resistance, improving our blood sugar. And it's a process. It's not an overnight fix. But and you have to stay committed, because it takes a lot.
I'm with you. I follow along with everything you're saying. It's really a body composition issue because that's what contributes and causes the diabetes, right? Like the type 2, the pre-diabetic and the
Sure.
diabetes. It's
right. Body composition, but you also talked about the sarcopenic obesity, which is your skinny
they have
fat. And they might not know if you're not getting your body composition taken when you're at a doctor, you may not know just by looking at. So
yeah.
it is body. So when Ryan says body composition, right, it's the portion of our body that's made up of fat and lean muscle, right? So just because you're skinny doesn't mean that body composition is a healthy body composition. You could be skinny, and that's the skinny fat, where you have a high body fat and low muscle mass, but you would just naturally have a small frame.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is important to know your fat mass versus your fat-free mass.
Right.
You know, that's important stuff to know as well. Because
right.
body composition, and we've talked about this in the past, but lean muscle does such a far superior job of fat tissue, of uptaking sugar, managing, managing changes, everything. Honestly, dietary is important, but then also environmental. So there's a lot of environmental insults that we experience that also impact our metabolic health.
Right.
You know, and when you start talking about diabetes, again, kind of the function, the core of that is metabolic dysfunction. So, yeah, a lot of variables. It can be overwhelming, but we're right to be sitting here to talk about things that are pretty much the lowest hanging and highest impact, right? So, which are, obviously food advice, nutrition advice, exercise, and then just general education around it. Because here's what happens, right? If you don't listen, you don't do anything. You're talking about the leading cause of blindness. You're talking about the leading cause of renal impairment, so kidney disease,
that's
and
another
dialysis.
Big one that I get the question
the kidney
on all the
problems.
time. I'm like, if you have kidney problems,
diabetes is number one, and number 3 on the microvascular side is amputations. So you get the ulcers because you can't really feel because there's such distal periphery, and the microvascular is the small blood vessels. So those 3 things. So therefore, the leading cause of amputations. That's microvascular. The macrovascular side of diabetes is stroke and heart attack.
Right.
So you're talking about major stuff.
Right.
And then now, as soon as you get into heart attack, now you're talking right off the bat, boom, heart disease. And then typically along with this, you have heart hypertension. So high blood pressure. And the heart attack thing is really a CAD, coronary artery disease issue. So guys, this thing is like it's such a volcanic eruption of into this chronic disease world, because as soon as all that happens, and we're not going to get into this so much, but the inflammatory cascade, the process of inflammation.
Sure.
So not only are you getting spikes of high inflammation, and your cortisol response is all screwed up, and your hypothalamus and your pituitary and the whole adrenal glands are screwed. Then you have this chronic low-grade inflammation your body doesn't even know what to do about, so it compromises the immune function. Now you're worried about cancer proliferation.
Right.
Now you're into this, like, okay, you started with obesity or whatever. Then you got diabetes. Then you went into this hypertension with coronary artery disease, heart attack, stroke risk. Now you have risk of cancer. What are we missing?
Right.
Oh, neurodegenerative diseases. Now you're talking about your Alzheimer's and your Parkinson's.
Sure.
Because again, the inflammatory cascade.
And
it's literally referred to as type 3 diabetes. Yeah. Because there's such a strong correlation, correlation and causative, whatever.
Yeah.
It makes you so sad, especially when you have loved ones, guys, that you see suffer through this. My father was a great example of coronary artery disease with high, long-standing pre-diabetes. Didn't really cross the line, but man, it's a tough world. It is a tough world. It doesn't have to be this way.
Right.
So supplementation is certainly a part of that, because it's a supplement to a healthy diet. You want the nutrients, you need the minerals. Your body absolutely requires these. This is a biochemical, all the reactions that happen in our body are due to all of these cofactors, your vitamins, your minerals, your trace minerals.
Which is why we pulled up
a lot of the stuff that we pulled out here.
Right. The multivitamins, your magnesium, your D.
Yep.
Ryan was just talking about that inflammation.
The omega-3 fatty acids are great.
Factor 4.
Yeah, for sure. Factor 4, the omega-3 fatty acids. You need phytonutrients. That's why we encourage eating the rainbow and different colors and things like that. There's your super reds. There's your super greens. The power of phytonutrients is incredible. And you do get those out of meat, so don't be totally discouraged. But boom, antioxidants. So they can help neutralize some of these free radicals that are happening because they're just constantly under assault and high amounts of inflammation. And oxidative stress is really the phrase, the term that goes with that.
Right. And especially if you might be eating like less fruits, because we just talked about avoiding the sugar, avoiding the carbohydrates. You know, all of our products are approved for diabetics. They're all no sugar-free. We tend to use stevia and monk fruit
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sure. Good point.
We threw
Good
the
point.
gut health in there because gut health probiotics are and enzymes. They're very important about helpful breaking things down. Gut health is, the gut is our second brain. It's involved in more than we think of. So it's always important to be addressing your gut health. Essential aminos. I pulled this out because obviously I talked about the more muscle you have, the more
Exactly.
your body's
Yep.
able to
Yep.
utilize blood sugar.
Yep.
And there's nothing better than essential aminos in helping us preserve that lean muscle mass.
In between periods of meals, right? Like great
Sure.
tool for that. You can use it along any time of day, really. But man, she's right. Like that's the key. Essential aminos for giving your body the fuel so it doesn't start breaking down the muscle.
Right.
Building lean muscle is so critical, guys. We really should have creatine out here, because it's just part of the whole thing. You should
Right.
have the
So
collagen peptides. You
Sure.
should have the whey protein. You
Yeah.
should have the plant protein. That's what's the craziest thing, guys. We're talking about like live good because the way we are anyways, we're formulating for foundational health.
Right. And
You know?
with the protein, it's hard to get enough protein
is.
in. That's where protein powders come into play. Like if you're one sitting there and saying like, I weigh 160 pounds and I'm eating my 160 grams of protein through other sources, meat, whatnot, eggs, dairy, kudos to you. I know personally, it's hard for me to reach my goal. I typically eat about 150 grams of protein a day. And it's hard to get there with just, whole foods alone. So I rely on our protein powders. So they're great help. 100 calories for 20 grams of protein. Really, really easy to add it in there.
Yeah.
As a snack with your meal. Make it
Yeah.
a meal by increasing it also. And then lean. Lean is our body composition enhancement formula. I want to talk about a couple of specifics of like what it's designed to do. Ryan might want to touch on a little
sure.
more, but it's funny. I was actually in the gym this morning, and one of the people I was working out with came up to me and said, I just ordered lean. And she was asking me, she's like, I hate taking stuff. I forget to take things, and lean's going to be very hard for me because you're supposed to take it before each meal.
Yep.
She's like, can I just take 6 in the morning? I'm like, no, you can't. It's designed to take before meals. So we have it as 2 capsules prior to each of your 3 main meals. And the glucomannan in lean is the fiber that expands the
100 times its weight in
expands
water.
the size of your stomach. So when you're eating, so if you take this it says 30 minutes on here, but the reason I say 30 to 60, I can even say 30 to 90, because our systems are different. Some digest a little bit slower. So you might need to take it 90 to 60 minutes. So you take it drinking with a lot of water, always have to drink a lot of water, and it expands. So then when you go to eat your meal, you're not able to eat as much, right? You just feel full. Naturally, you just feel full faster. And then also the berberine and the hops extract, they help to balance and stabilize our blood sugar when we eat. So this is not to say, oh, I'm going to take this and go eat my high carbohydrate, high sugar, whatnot. No, this is again, anytime we eat food, our blood sugar goes up and down. And again, if you're insulin resistant, high blood sugar, pre-diabetic, diabetic, whatever it is, the insulin is not taking away that blood sugar. So you really need to make sure you're focusing on it. So, yeah.
You made a lot of good points about the product. That's great. And something I was thinking of, but I want to just let me throw this comment up here because the vegans I follow wholeheartedly believe in fruit is life. So do we.
Oh, sure.
When your body's compromised though, and you can't manage the sugar properly, you need to make very wise sugar decisions. And the fruit, you have to select the proper fruits.
Everything that you put into your mouth.
That's all. Yep. I completely agree. Fruit is amazing.
Fruit, it is the vitamins, the nutrients, the hydration. Fruit is.
Are legumes okay? You name some legumes.
Black beans is really great in soluble fiber. So all beans are.
Look
high in
at
fiber.
this. Not a good. So grapes and melons extremely high in sugar. Should be eaten alone. Ferments really fast and causes gases and bloat.
Okay. Yep.
So as you guys can see, there's a ton of information and advice out there. You really have to work with what serves you best, but there's some principles and some guidelines that you should, general guidelines that you should follow. So healthy fats, high in protein.
I want to go on the sugar comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
The fruit comment real quick, especially the grapes. I just want to give an example. So my mom is extremely lean. She works out all the time, and she's 72 years old. She is strong as a little whip. She's maybe like 95 pounds. I mean, super, super, super lean, much shorter than me. So, her weight is much less, but her A1C was kind of on the higher level. My mom eats very, very, very clean, like really no real sugar or anything like that. Doesn't really eat carbohydrates, can't do gluten, so just avoids it all. She snacks on grapes.
Oh, there it is.
All
Boom.
throughout the day.
Yeah.
Just like not like piles of grapes, but like if you're kind of thirsty, hungry, just kind of go pop some grapes. And her doctor was like, you got to back off the grapes. Like, I don't know what else it would be, but your A1C has gone up and, grapes are super high.
This one says, Live Good products help. That's awesome. Don't eat too early, 3 to 4 hours, and try not to eat 4 hours before bed. Feel much better. If you can go 4 hours before bed, that's impressive.
I wish.
But if you can go at least 2 hours before bed, I'm telling you, you're right. This is a game changer, guys. Do not eat close to bedtime. Massive change in your sleep quality and your blood sugar management. And make sure you move after that meal. Please walk. I had a friend, I thought he was totally active all the time. He says, man, I just started walking after you told me that we should walk after meals. I won't stop doing it and I feel amazing.
Yes.
Such a game changer after a meal.
And I will say, when I first met him, I don't know if you know if we met in college, but Ryan used to eat a big meal and the first thing he would do was go lie down.
Yeah. Yeah. No, she helped me with a lot of things. Here?
Albert, congratulations. That's awesome news.
Nice.
Just good news. Always good news.
I love hearing that, man.
Yes.
For sure. Well, guys, look, we did a thing about, what did we do? Caloric restriction and weight loss. We're not getting into that today because we're not talking to you today specifically about weight loss, but you can check that out.
But
we've done one on inflammation. We've done one on inflammation.
Right.
Inflammaging. What else have we talked about that's relevant to today as well?
The metabolism.
Metabolic health. We did metabolic health. I mean, there's so much content around this, guys. And I think it's an awareness thing. It's an education. And I honestly think that you people out there that are currently suffering with high sugar know what you need to do. So sometimes it's just that extra push, right?
And maybe that push is today. Today's the day. Start now.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Don't let the cascade.
Did we cover everything you had?
I think so, yeah.
All right, awesome. Yeah. Well, I'm going to run through some quick comments.
Yeah, and I did say, guys, if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel. That way you don't miss anything. And we love your comments, your views. It helps us. We help you. It's kind of hand in hand. Like, comment. We always answer. Love to.
Yes, please do that. Please do that. Albert's back and says, exercise gives me back pain. Well, your back pain's going to get worse if you don't move. It's just, that's the nature of the beast. You're going to have to find movements that work for you. Seek out a healthcare provider, whether it's chiropractic medicine or an orthopedic. Find somebody that can give you tailored advice.
Right. Core strengthening exercises. I mean, if you're doing exercises that tend to hurt your back, then you're doing the wrong exercises for your body.
Oh, man, you guys are so complimentary. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. We love you guys too.
Yeah, and check out all of our products are on our website, livegood.com. You can check them out there. We do have learn more sections with some information. We're working on getting short little videos onto each product so you can quickly watch and get a quick educational 1 to 3 minutes. 100% move daily. Yeah. Any other questions, you guys, I'm always available. Email. Some of these, I see if they're not really hand in hand with what's going on today.
It's fun to see, though. A lot of people are recommending keto.
Yeah. I mean, it's not for everybody, but if you are struggling with blood sugar issues, guys, it is the way to go. It really is. And it doesn't mean you have to be doing keto for life, but you've got to get what's going on in check and then figure out. It's all about learning how your body, everybody's different. So
it's so funny. There's 2 comments about trampoline, and I couldn't agree more. Absolutely love the rebounding. Like if you bought one little trampoline and you just wanted to jump for a little bit.
Right. That's a great idea. You have one of the teeny little trampolines next to your desk. Rebounder. Go jump for 2 minutes.
And just jump for 2 minutes. Wow. I love that. Freaking
now I feel
great.
like we need a little trampoline.
Yeah. Yeah.
We should have one anyways. I love the whole,
You can do it after cold plunge. If you guys cold plunge, you can go out and jump and make your.
Yes, we tend to go out on our kids' big trampoline, but we should have a little one.
Rebounders can be great. Another comment. This is great. So you guys must be seeing all your other comments and commenting back and forth, and I like that too. Thank you for interacting the way you all do.
Is dancing okay?
Dancing, come on, Rosemary.
Is exercise.
Boom.
Yes.
Who doesn't want to dance?
Yes, you have to just find, it's movement. That's why sometimes I hate saying exercise. I actually have it on my notes, exercise/movement. It's just movement. What movement motivates you? if you are going out and hating your exercise every single day, the likeliness of you sticking with it is
Look at
very
this
low.
one here. This one asks about, hey, Lisa, Dr. Ryan, recommendations of organic products for eyesight. So you're right to be concerned if your sugars are high, like I said earlier.
Yes.
It can damage parts of your eye because the microvascular, the inflammation, and retinitis and different things can happen in the eye. Of course, lowering the sugar is your priority, right? Let's get back to that normal, healthy sugar levels. But from there, you need nutrients. We need nutrients for the eyes. We need the lutein and zeaxanthin, which
Right.
are in the multivitamin for men and women. We put eye support, vision support in both of those because of a lot of it to do with the exposure to our blue light and the fact that those two carotenoids are really highly concentrated in the back of our eye and the retina. So,
Right.
so many things that you need to do for your eyes, guys, to protect your eyes. But natural light's also very important. So get outside.
Should I take super reds when my sugar is high? There are no sugars in super reds. So yes, super reds, a great addition.
Yeah, the artificial sweetener thing is a hot topic debate here. It can cause an insulin surge. Yeah, I mean, so you got to be careful with them for sure. It's a lot of conflicting literature out there, so really difficult to know what's right.
Time for your methylene blue?
Tomorrow morning.
I had mine today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we should probably do, I know next week, if you guys join us, it's the first Monday, right? The first Monday the first Monday, oh, today's the last.
Did we mess up?
Did we?
Sure did.
We'll do it next week.
That's something.
Typically the last Monday of every month, we do a live Q&A, call it our AUA, ask us anything. We goofed.
Sorry, guys.
Brought this topic in, but we'll do it.
Nobody called us out on it.
We'll flip-flop it. We'll do it next week. But I do also want to touch on, coming after that, I want to do a big one on methylene blue.
This is a big
because
one.
the topic has been like, the research has been pumping out more stuff.
And Donica, you're all over the comments. I love it. Especially women go through menopause. Menopause strength training helps keep your bone mineral density strong and prevent sarcopenia. Man,
100%.
I'm telling you. And then what the problem too with the prediabetes and obesity is, man, your hormones absolutely get completely dysregulated.
Yeah.
And of course, we're all worried about our sex hormones, but there's so many hormones. We did a hormones video too, but man, it's both your sex hormones are what you're going to really notice the most. Your progesterone gets screwed, your estrogen, your testosterone, which of course men and women all have those hormones.
Right. So a lot of times if I get the
rough.
question, like I'm having trouble getting pregnant, what should I take? I take steps back. Is there obesity involved? Type 2 diabetes? I mean, there's so many of these things that we need to focus on, because if you can fix those and get your hormones back in check, things happen naturally.
Yeah.
All right. We're at 42 minutes, honey.
All right, guys. Have a great rest of your day. If you're not watching us live, thank you for tuning in, watching this recorded version.
Yes.
And we'll see you again next week.
Yes. Any other questions that did not get answered? Guys, I'm always available via email, and make sure you tune in next week. Again, it's our live AUA. So that's where we take questions. It's Ask Us Anything. We'll take questions all over the grid about health and wellness. So it doesn't come in with anything.
That's right.
All right, guys. Thanks
Take
for
care,
joining.
y'all. Bye now.